Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant news on a crazy day in the Valorant world. Two unbelievable series yesterday at VCT Masters. Plenty of reaction to the Guards' second series of the day, leaving Masters with one team remaining from 6 different regions. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, plenty of roster stuff to discuss, mainly from Fnatic. Magnum seemingly going to get moved to the bench from this team. They bowed out of the tournament, of course, a couple of days ago. They had to play with 2 substitutes. It was a difficult time for them. Of course, look, a few months ago, a couple of months ago now, they benched Doma from their team. Of course, Dephh came through. He couldn't compete here due to travel restrictions. The Turko positive test thing didn't help them out at all. But as a result, you would have kind of wondered whether Fnatic as a team feels like, okay, with Turko, with Dephh, we might have been okay. But seemingly, Magnum might be on the way out as well. Interesting stuff for it, because upgrading for Magnum is going to be tough. Maybe a Killers or something could be an option. But yeah, we'll see what Fnatic decide to do, because they've been making some big moves as of late, or at least trying some things out. It seemed to work briefly. They go to the Masters with the substitutes. Like, the situation doesn't really transpire for them. G2, of course, the surviving team from the European region. They'll be in action later today, as we shall see here in a couple of minutes' time. This also because Hyber subbed in for Fnatic right at Masters in place of Turko, and honestly, if anything, looked like kind of their best player. But, you know, he's playing for Koi right now. Seemingly, there's, 3 teams in the European region looking to bring him onto the team. Already putting a good offer on the table. His departure from Koi may well be close. We shall keep reporting on that one, says Lembo. So we'll see how that goes. We've got to dive straight into the Masters matches from yesterday, though, because an unbelievable set of games. Firstly, Zeta Division versus Team Liquid. Like, a really entertaining game. Honestly, Zeta, so much fun to watch. Like, the commentary as well from the Japanese side. It must be said also, this was an atrocious time for Japanese viewership. Like, it was, really early hours of the morning, like 4 a.m., and there was hundreds of thousands of Japanese viewers watching across the Japanese streams, seeing their team play at this ungodly hour. So credit to all those guys watching, and thankfully they got rewarded, right? Their patience got rewarded. Game 1 here on Fracture, a significant early lead for Zeta. Both maps that they won in this series, they had a great early start. And while they win this game, honestly, it got a pretty suspect. It was a 10-2 half, I believe. But at Zeta eventually, they get the thrifty. They close this one out to get to 12-7, and they help to close out the game as well. Game 2, though, goes the way of Liquid. They bounce back. Obviously, Screaming Navera, tough time right now with Ramadan going on. But honestly, Liquid really came to play this game too. But honestly, it was incredible from Zeta, right? They played so well this entire series. Like, obviously, this game was a bit of an exception for them. But yeah, 2 very solid squads. Liquid, if anything, you could argue, shouldn't have even been here, right? Given the fact that, FPX were meant to be here at this event, but they got the opportunity, Liquid got the opportunity because they couldn't make it because of all the substitution changes they would have to have made. But yeah, kind of surprising to me to see Liquid fall out in the manner that they did, especially the final game here on Split as well. Zeta had a great start. They go up 4-1. Finally, Liquid get around on the board, but Zeta just pulled away, and ShahZaM, man, what a player this guy is. This was the winning moment for the team when, Navera tries to come through, he gets shut down, and it's all on Soulcast to try and do something on the other side of this Astra wall, and yeah, it doesn't work out from at all. He eventually goes down. The Japanese commentary was going absolutely wild as a result of this one. I might have to play it for you guys right at the end of the video. It's just awesome to see the passion from this team, from this region, just proving that these guys are a force to be reckoned with, and not a weak region are going to go down without a fight either. So they played great. Team Liquid go out after not too long ago, looking like one of the most promising teams, if not the most promising, from the European region. But yeah, they fall short. We also, this is the immediate reaction here for the Japanese casters. Just great to see the passion on display. Really awful time zones for a lot of the Japanese guys. Just great to see all these regions getting involved, and just creates a very exciting dynamic in the Valorant world that so many regions, so many teams from all these different regions have a chance to win. It's going to create great confidence, I imagine, as well, within all these different regions that, their teams can make it happen. As TenZ says, wow, congrats to Zeta. They played amazingly well. No doubt about it. 2-1 over Team Liquid. ShahZaM plus 16 over the course of it on the Astra. Really still making the Astra work, which is, very impressive after the recent nerfs. Scream Navera had a good time. Link had a pretty horrible series, as did Yampy by his standards. If we look at Link, for example, he has 9 kills game 1. Yampy only had 8 to be fair. Haven went 13-4 in favor, so they bounced back nicely. Link still only got 10 kills. And then final game on the split, he went 5-14. So definitely a tough affair there. ShahZaM 18-11 on the Astra. Link 5-14. But let's talk about the next series of the day. So at this point, there were, pretty much teams from every single region still there, apart from Latin America. And there was 2 teams from North America. They played, of course, up against PRX. The Guard, I think, have it within them to beat a team like PRX. But, just the way they played today, this, for example, 1v2 Clutch and Forsaken, he was phenomenal this series, as most certainly was Jing. Jing is an unbelievable player to watch as well. He's one of the most aggressive players you're ever going to see. Just it's really entertaining watching these guys play. PRX play at such a level, at such a crazy level of intensity that's incredibly hard to match, to be honest, with so many different teams. And like even this PK from Forsaken at the end was absolutely beautiful here on the Jet. And while they take a substantial early advantage, they close out this game one here on the Haven. Was a close fought affair, 13-10 in the end. But once again, Forsaken with the Jet op, like he's been absolutely phenomenal. But also just watching Jing get these entries a lot of the time is just an unbelievable affair. So yeah, PRX, like what an entertaining squad. But yeah, the guards definitely didn't play to their potential, I think, this tournament. There has been plenty of talk about them, exactly what went wrong here. Like even when we go here to the split and they're already at 1-0 in the series, a fantastic ace here from Jing. Like he just doesn't know when to slow down. This guy just goes and goes and goes here on the Rays, picks up a nice little ace actually, and definitely catalyzes the team to the further success they had. But yeah, the star players on the guard didn't really turn up. Yonapli played well, but the likes of Trent, right, he didn't really have his greatest tournament by any means. Of course, only played 2 games, one against OpTic, one against here PRX. And look, it does have to be said, the whole rookie factor, look, they're new to LAN. That's kind of why we talked about the fact that this team, in a situation like this, their first major tournament like this, they might well struggle. At the same time, though, there have been other teams, the likes of Gambit, when they won their first international tournament, pretty sure the average, they had like 4 players on the team that were 19. That was like their first international event. So it is sometimes the case that some teams kind of, get a pass because it's rookie nerves, first LAN type stuff, like here with the guards. But other teams in other regions have certainly made that work. And as Vanity says, Jing might be the most entertaining player in the world. This guy is just so much fun to watch, there's no doubt. PRX played an unbelievable pace. The half, I believe, gets tied up in the end, and then Forsaken again with some phenomenal plays to help close out this round. 7-7, the Marshal comes into play, and then the defensive side just gets rolling for PRX, and they close out the rest of the game. Trent says, GG 0-2 to PRX. They played really well and were the better team. Sorry to all the fans let you guys down. It's difficult to see from these guys, super young. This wasn't even a team, I believe, 3 months ago or whatever this team formed, so incredible result from them to even get to this point. But it was always going to be a tough task at a major tournament like this. But it's got to be said, other teams have made it work due to the nerves, pressure, first round jitters, this type of stuff. But of course, they got thrown right into the playoffs, where arguably they would have been better off if they'd have started in the groups. That's certainly the case that Ethan makes here in just a second. As Redgar says from the Gambit side, or former Gambit, I want to say from the guys from the guards, keep your heads up. We saw your potential. I know what you can do. Yes, you didn't show it in the tournament, but these things will come with time and experience. So definitely some good words. There was some banter going their way, right, and the other way as well. But I still think these guys have an awful lot of potential. Just a tough first tournament showing for them, no doubt. But this is what Ethan says. Thought was quite interesting, because when the format was initially announced, the way these 12 teams would be formatted into the brackets, with the top seeds going straight to the playoffs, the other 8 teams battling it out for 4 spots through 2 GSL-style group formats. There was plenty of talk from, I believe, the OpTic guys initially, that it's actually better to be the number 2 seeds, because, yes, let's say you get through your group as OpTic struggled, but they just made it work in the end. If you get through your group as they did, then you have more experience, right? You have more time on LAN, you have more time practicing and playing with your team. Whereas if you go straight through, as the guard did here, versus OpTic in the first round and now PRX, you've had very little chance, right? As Ethan says, he feels like the guard would have made it further if they didn't get a pass to playoffs. He reckons they would have made it through their group if they had have started in groups, and they would have done a little bit better here, because they didn't quite get to have the full LAN experience, because they were kind of thrust right into it in the playoffs against very good teams. There is, of course, a positive element for the guard in that, because yes, they came top 8 here, they do get a fair amount of VCT points towards champs by even going 0-2. So yes, they get a good amount of points for champs. They can probably qualify for that as a result of this if they have some decent success going into stage 2. But again, still not the result they were looking for at all. What it does mean though is we get 6 teams from 6 different regions in the final 6 rosters that are here at this event. So phenomenal stuff. Now this was kind of spicy actually, which surprised me, because I think a lot of North American fans, after the guard went out, they kind of wanted to support the guard. But now of course OpTic, the last representatives in the North American region, so understandably a lot of fans are going to get behind OpTic for the rest of the tournament. Yay tweets this out, right, the kind of OpTic flag, 8,000 likes on this one. But interestingly enough, Alex Rubens from the guard side tweeted the following, which are Jake Lucky screenshots that actually is here, even though he deleted this in the end. I think he eventually admitted, okay, I'll take the L on this one. But he thought it was kind of weird. It takes an insane amount of small dong energy to watch another team from your region who beat you in the grand finals, or 13-1, 13-6 of you in the VTT, get eliminated by someone other than you, and immediately start tweeting best team in A and team flag memes. So he's seemingly kind of frustrated that some of these people are seemingly poking fun at the guards, even though the team flag memes that Ye did, I feel like was not that at all. Some interesting stuff. Not really sure why this had to kick off, and even as Ye says, kind of weird to get offended by a flag meme. Nothing wrong with wanting to rally support for you for the upcoming games as the last North American team in the tourney, supporting it is cringe real to vanity. So kind of strange stuff, to be honest. Even dapr says here from Sentinels, basic banter used with every other team, and OpTic did absolutely nothing. Poor dude just doesn't get the internet right. So there was things of OpTic right here, last one standing, semis tomorrow. This also for the Sentinels, the group chat is flying with all the teams that aren't there anymore getting added to it, right? So pretty entertaining condescending stuff. Just not really sure why this had to cause so much of a stir on the Twitter sphere, to be honest. But yeah, these were the final series results. paperX versus the Guards. What are your thoughts, right? If Guard did start in those group matches, like, you know, would they have made it further? Would they have even made it out of the groups? Because, of course, these kind of early nerves, right? And they said against OpTic, they went up 10-4 on the Fracture last map against OpTic, and they kind of collapsed in that one. Like, they kind of said as a result of that, yeah, the nerves did kind of get to us, right? So maybe in early group play, they would have kind of got over that a little bit more, but, you know, even then, right, is the nerves and jitters going to cost them a little bit more? So, a lot to learn for these guys. Very young team, very much expected, to be perfectly honest. As you can see, Ying, Forsaken kind of taking over the series. Net and Trent with a pretty tough one, given what those guys usually bring to the roster. Sire had his moments, most certainly, but yeah, not quite to be with this team. And some of these guys, of course, Sire play, like, they've played Labs before, this type of stuff. It's not new for all of these guys, but I think this is one of those things you might well expect to happen, and it's some of these other teams, the likes of Gambit, that just turn up the first time and just win the event with all rookies, like, or at least rookies in that kind of environment, are more of the exception than they are the rule, right? But Icebox in the end was never required, as well, split goes 13-8 in paperX's favour. They take a pretty comfortable series victory, and that now leaves 6 teams remaining from 6 different regions. Can you believe it? There are 7 designated regions in the VCT: North America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia Pacific, Korea, Japan, Brazil and Latin America. Only Latin America have no representation left in this tournament, as the top 6 feature teams from all the different regions. So beautiful how this has worked out. Very exciting for the future of Valorant, and OpTic play later on today. So this is the bracket that we now have. The 2 games, we go back to the winner side, we go back to the semi-finals. The winner of these games guaranteed top 3. G2 versus Loud in the upper side, Europe's best versus Brazil's best. Really tough to call. Loud's kind of struggled to get past Liquid, I thought, in the first round, and honestly, I think that maybe G2O would slightly favour them here, but very tough to call. Then DRX versus OpTic. DRX honestly look very strong. I don't know how they're going to fare against OpTic. I feel like OpTic can bring a new level here, but I think both of these series are going to be very tough to call. So I'm going to take G2 and OpTic, but I would not be surprised at all if I'm very wrong on this one. Both of these series I feel like have a map 3, probably more likely than not, and then of course, well, the loser of those teams will drop down to play either Zeta or paperX. I believe the way this should work is that the loser of DRX and OpTic will play Zeta, and the loser of G2 Loud will play paperX, because they should swap the brackets if Riot know what they are doing. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us your YouTube gods this is a good video, and also like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you much as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
手前にはスクリーム3人で守るチームリキッド壁からスクリームの位置は分かりましたサイトラかナイスナイス3対3人数入り抜けもないよコードビッグディバイド世界最速セッツだあと2人ナイスこれは奇跡じゃない奇跡じゃない取れ現実だ取ってくれ3対1カーテンオープンだ行ってこいまだある時間はたっぷりある24最後はシュガーゼロのエースだシュガーヒーロー誕生これは奇跡ではありませんチャンピオンズへの奇跡です